Hello, everyone. Welcome to All Things Odd. We haven't been here for a while. We've been traveling and doing some different things. But I am Dr. Natalie Phillips.
And I'm Mary Kate.
And Mary Kate came up with a super cool and sweet topic for today. Yeah. But before we get there, I'm going to have her cover just our YouTube channel here and have her talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So as usual, when we do our live shows, we like to upload them to our YouTube afterwards so that you can go ahead and revisit the videos. It's pretty nice because they're laid out in kind of their different features and the topics that we talk about. And so there's one like on hearing protection. There's one on like research, things like that. And so if you're looking for something like looking for a specific question to be answered, you can kind of scroll to pick that topic. And then you can kind of look through our different videos to see what else we've talked about. So that's super helpful, especially if you have any friends or family that like don't really have Facebook or aren't super tech savvy, and then they can just kind of click the link and watch the video through that.
Yeah. And so we're kind of slowly building our YouTube channel, and you guys are doing great following it and sharing it out there. So thank you very much. And we're going to remove that for now. And okay, so the sweet topic of the day is that we are going to talk about how chocolate is related to your hearing. And so we did a little bit of research and we wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about that. So Mary Kate, do you want to show what we have here for our chocolate episode?
We have our chocolate so that we can continue to snack while we kind of go through our different topics.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna take a kiss.
I'm gonna go for a Dove with chocolate.
Okay, so I'll start while Mary Kate sits and eats her chocolate. But what Mary Kate had found out with doing some research is that there was a study that she looked up, and it was out of Korea, and it was done on patients or people about middle age, 40 to 64 years of age. And they found that the rate of hearing loss was actually lower in people who ate chocolate versus people who did not. And interestingly enough, in this research also, they decided to look at tinnitus, and they found that there might be a similar correlation with tinnitus and eating chocolate, but actually there was not. And then also they found that there was no relation in eating just sweets overall that didn't have cocoa in it. So sorry, you can't just like eat sweets and hope that you're going to hear better, but what they did find out in the research was that in looking at patients that had like in the middle-aged area, 40 to 64 years of age, that the rate of hearing loss was lower for people who consumed chocolate than people who did not. I know that Mary Kate's got a couple of other additions to that, but I'm going to throw in one more thing, animals. So they did do a study with animals. And we were talking before the show, like, how did they do the study? How did they test the animals? So animal studies have also been conducted as well. And they found that there's similar results with chocolate assisting in reducing hearing loss. So now I'm going to enjoy my chocolate while Mary Kate just kind of gives a little bit more information about the research that she found.
Yeah. So kind of going back to that study that Dr. Phillips was talking about with the rats, what they did was like they fed some rats chocolate and they did not feed some rats chocolate, and they waited actually until the rats had passed away. And so they were really focused on like age-related hearing loss. So we do know that rats and mice get age-related hearing loss. And so they waited for that to kind of take effect if it was going to. They lived their lives and they passed away peacefully. And then what they did is they went in and like surgically removed the cochleas and like had that analyzed for kind of overall like cell count in the cochlea. This is actually kind of what my research project was about. So I thought this was cool. But so they basically like pulled out the cochlea and they tried to count how many cells and auditory nerve fibers there were. And they were able to see that like the mice they fed or the rats that they fed the chocolate to had more cells than the rats that did not get the chocolate. And so basically the lack of chocolate led to higher cell death, led to age-related hearing loss.
Yeah,
was what those researchers had determined.
Cool.
Yeah. So like, why does chocolate affect your hearing at all? That seems like I was really excited when I saw this. I was like, sweet, I like chocolate. So chocolate, and especially dark chocolate, which I think is a really important thing. The study in Korea didn't really specify if they were doing dark chocolate or milk chocolate, but a lot of other people were saying that it would probably have to be dark chocolate because of all the antioxidants. And so we have, what are antioxidants? They kind of help with blood supply, heart issues, blood pressure, things like that. So we actually have a pretty big artery that runs along our ears. So we've included that picture on there for you. And so it's like our basilar artery and the AICA are like two of the big ones that kind of just run and connect right to your heart. And then you can see that they have little smaller branches that go all the way around your ear. And so we know that people who have maybe some like blood supply issues will be at a higher risk for hearing loss. And that includes like if you smoke, if you have high blood pressure, if you have just like regular heart issues, things like that, you are at more of a risk for hearing loss. And so what they're thinking is that the antioxidants kind of help combat any of these issues, or just kind of give you the best chance for like blood flow, blood supply, things like that. And so it affects our hearing because then we can kind of maintain that blood supply throughout the arteries in our ears. The other thing is that obviously antioxidants have been found to reduce blood pressure and to reduce heart issues. The American Heart Association has confirmed that, which is really cool. The other thing is that dark chocolate contains high levels of zinc, and I had to look it up. Zinc is like basically another antioxidant form. And so in 2023, they did a study on stroke patients, and they found that low levels of zinc or unregulated zinc levels caused cell death in multiple parts of the body. And so they were able to track that, I want to say in the brain, the heart, definitely their eyes, and then also their ears. And so these patients that have had strokes before, they did like zinc testing on them and found that they just had abnormal or unregulated levels of zinc in their body. And it kind of, they kind of attributed that to contributing to the stroke. And so what they're thinking is that the more zinc, the more dark chocolate you eat with the zinc, kind of the less of a risk that we run with that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So the big question then lies, so can I just sit here and eat chocolate and not see my audiologist? No, first of all, and you knew we were going to say that anyway, because even though we found that consuming chocolate can lower the, I guess, risk for hearing loss, you still need to be taking care of yourself and your health, like with anything in moderation, right? And so, yes, enjoy the chocolate, whether it's Halloween, whether, you just celebrated Valentine's Day, whatever it is, or whether we're just sitting around in the office and eating our chocolate. Yes, you can enjoy the chocolate. And yes, it is correlated to lower the risks of hearing loss, but so are so many other things as well, right? And so we thought it was kind of fun to bring this up, just because maybe you had a box of chocolates that you received last night or yesterday and enjoyed it. Definitely enjoy your chocolate in moderation, but don't think that you can skip seeing the audiologist if you're starting to notice the hearing loss. So with that, I'll leave Mary Kate to kind of go over some other options again to remind you of how to protect yourself.
Yeah, so I feel like our usual run-of-the-mill suggestions, always see your audiologist, even just to establish care. We see a lot of people, I feel like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we see a lot of people who come in and they're like probably in like their 70s or 80s. They're like, yeah, I have hearing loss. And we confirm that with the hearing test, but I can't say like, when did it start? Is it changing significantly? Like, is this a normal rate of hearing loss that we would expect? Like, I don't know that. And so when I see the people who are in like their 30s or 40s and they're like, I just figured I should probably get it checked, I just want to hug them. I want to like squeeze them and be like, yes, tell everyone, do the same. Because that's like truly how we know. Because then I can say, at some point in your adult life, you had normal hearing. And, even if we don't want you to wait like another 30 years then to turn 60 when you might be more at risk. But then I can at least say, like, hey, when you were an adult, you had normal hearing. So we can probably attribute that to like age related then at that point. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Even if you feel like you have no trouble hearing, you should still just get a hearing test at some point, because you probably haven't had one since like elementary school. If that, like if you went to private school, you've probably never had one since birth. And so things like that, obviously protecting yourself from loud noises, whether that's reducing the level of the noise, taking yourself out of that situation, or using hearing protection. All of those are great options. And then obviously your yearly hearing evaluation. I just think it's really important to kind of keep up, learn about your ears, learn about what can affect your hearing and how to best protect yourself. And that's the way we're going to be able to hear and live our lives and as long as we can.
Yeah. So if you have any other questions, or if you have some curiosity of like, is chocolate related to my hearing, or anything else that we can take some time and look up for you and research and then present here in this forum. Hopefully people that are watching this, so that you guys can share out, might benefit from this, and also know that we're saying chocolate in moderation. Maybe dark chocolate would probably be the best, but
Your
other
York
than that,
patties.
yeah, I love York patties.
Same.
So other than that, if you have any other topics that you want us to discuss, as always, just reach out to us, let us know, and we will be back next week with a whole new episode of All Things On. So thanks for joining us.